Welcome back. You're still watching Politics Tonight, digging beyond the headlines. And now to our interview with the guest of the day. I'm joined by the Senator-elect for Imo West Senatorial District, Osita Izunaso, for discussion on the 10th National Assembly and how the APC zoning formula is stirring disagreement. He is returning to the Senate, having been elected senator for Imo West in 2007. Senator Izunaso was the founding national organizing secretary of the All Progressives Congress, APC. Thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thank you very much, Jumoke. I'm glad to be here.
All right. So let's start by congratulating you on your return to the Senate. How do you feel about the victory, especially gaining the trust of your people for another term?
Well, I feel excited. I feel elected. Being elected by my people to represent them at the 10th Senate, it wasn't an easy task to win election from the part of the country where I come from. But because the people believe in me, and through the grace of Almighty God, we were able to win. So I'm happy that we won. To God be the glory.
That's right. Now, you're one of the candidates who survived the onslaught of the Labour Party in the Southeast. How did you achieve the victory?
Well, it wasn't an easy task. First of all, I must commend the people of Imo West Senatorial Zone for having the reposed confidence in me, a lot of confidence, because the Southeast had a presidential candidate in the person of Mr. Peter Obi, and that affected virtually everything that we did in the Southeast. But we moved on, we soldiered on, we fought like a wounded lion. And at the end of the day, the people believed in me by voting for me and also voting for our party to the extent of their ability. So I think we give all glory to God Almighty, but I can assure you that it wasn't an easy task at all.
So, as a returning senator to the National Assembly, what should your constituents in Imo West expect from you this time?
Well, a lot is being expected from me. Number one is to look at the security situation in my senatorial district, and indeed in my state as a whole. The security situation in the state is not as interesting as it used to be. So security should be my priority. Youth restiveness should also be my priority. We should find a way to address the issue of youth restiveness, and also we have to find a way to get job for the youth and also empower the people. So we're going to leverage on what the government of the day at the state level have done. The government have been able to provide adequate infrastructure. So we're going to build on it, attract federal presence, and combine them to be able to provide a good life for our people. And I can assure you that we're going to do our best, Jamoke.
All right, so let's move to the tussle for the principal positions in the 10th National Assembly. How will you describe the race so far?
Well, it's been very interesting. I'm sure that maybe about 5 of us are still in the race for the Senate President. And I can see that everybody is moving around, talking to the public, talking to senators. But because of my experience over the years, I know that everything will end up at the floor of the Senate. It is who the senators want to vote for that they will vote for. Because the Senate is a mini Nigeria. The senators you see are men and women of repute that knows exactly what they want. They're not the kind of persons that can be coerced into doing what they don't want to do. So I can assure you that the Senate will do exactly what Nigerians will expect them to do. And they will vote a Senate President of their choice. And I'm happy that at the end of the day, the senators might see reason why they should vote for me to lead the 10th Senate. I'm very confident that they will see reason why they should vote for me. I'm extremely confident.
All right. So, distinguished, why is this race generating so much heat? I mean, you may not see this from within, but to tell you how hot this race has become and the ripple effect it is gradually having on the polity. Like one of your colleagues, and that's Senator Baribe, alluded to the fact that even the lawmakers have not seen it this way before now, to the extent that is taken aback by the number of posters and billboards on the premises of the National Assembly. Why is it generating so much heat?
Well, just like every other contest, people are bound to express their aspirations early enough. But I think one of the reasons why this particular one is generating a lot of heat is as a result of the so-called zoning that was done. Zoning was done with some names attached to it. So some people see this as highly undemocratic, and people started agitating. Is it the kind of 10th National Assembly we want to have? Are we going to have a rubber stamp National Assembly where people will no longer say what they want to say or do what they want to do? So I think the way and manner the zoning, in quote, was done is what is generating this controversy. And that is why you can see a lot of people are now agitating. Before now, it wasn't supposed to be like this. Before now, you wouldn't even know who is running and who is not running. It's only a game within the National Assembly members elect, and at the end of the day, one person will emerge. But today, there's a lot of tension, there's a lot of apprehension, there's a lot of suspicion. But I can assure you that at the end of the day, Nigerians and democracy will be better for it. And nobody will be disappointed. Even the president-elect himself will also not be disappointed, because this is a democratic experiment that we're doing. And I know the president-elect. I know him very well. He has been around for the past 3 decades, doing what he knows best, which is politicking. So when people are saying that he brought this zoning, he brought the names of the persons so attached to the zone, I said, no. If you know Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu very well, he will agree with me that he won't go into that kind of thing, because he knows that this is a contest of senators elect and members of House of Representatives elect. So it is not something that they are going to microzone to individual. I'm sure he's not part of it. I can assure you that his name is being dropped here and there. And you will see what I'm telling you. By the time he's sworn in by May 29, everything will change. It will certainly change. So these are some of the reasons why you can see that the atmosphere is being overheated, because some people are parading names, parading figures. We have 74 senators who have endorsed somebody, and that group said they have 64. By the time you calculate the number of endorsements, it goes beyond 109. It's almost about 300. So do we have 300 senators in the National Assembly? But everybody is claiming this endorsement, that endorsement. So, but I believe that at the end of the day, good reasoning, wisdom will come to play, and we'll have a stable National Assembly.
So, this decision of APC to nominate candidates for the 10th National Assembly positions is, obviously generating reactions such that some aspirants have refused to drop their bids. Let me ask you, distinguished, is the party not supreme? And is it right to go against the wish of one's party?
No, the party is supreme. I'm a believer of the party. Having served the party for 5 years as its National Organizing Secretary, I know the rudiments. I know how the party works. What is being paraded right now cannot come from the party. I can assure you that. I know how the party works. I know how the party works. The NWC, after due consultations, will make a recommendation to National Caucus. National Caucus will look at it and thereafter advise NEC on the recommendations, and NEC will ratify. And once NEC ratifies, it becomes a party decision. But that is not the case in what we see today as the recommendation from the NWC. And I can assure you that if you look at that letter, I don't know whether you have read the letter carefully. If you read that letter, you will see that NWC, that is National Working Committee, are calling for further and better consultation. That is, a National Working Committee calls for further and better consultation among stakeholders, and even among the aspirants themselves. But that is what they're calling for in that letter. They went further to say that zoning arrangement as reported to NWC is as follows. So which means they are not claiming the authorship of that zoning. That was why I said that there's no zoning yet. It was just a mere recommendation. And some people have gone to town with it, saying that they have been endorsed, they have not been endorsed. Nobody is going to endorse anybody like that. You don't microzone with names. You microzone to geopolitical zones. While you begin to parry the names you have in mind, begin to consult, begin to see to what extent you can sell it. Then maybe some few days to the proclamation, you can now sell the name you have in mind seamlessly, and it goes in without any qualms. But the way it is now, people are saying, I have been endorsed. No, nobody has been endorsed. I can assure you that. It's an open ticket. It's still free for everyone to contest. The party mainly recommended is an advice, because the party said, we are still consulting for further and better consultation. Why are they saying better consultation? If the matter is concluded, why is the party saying further and better? If my semantics is not misleading me, further and better means that the consultation is ongoing. That is the meaning. And why would they come and say that the zone arrangement as reported to NWC is as follows? As reported to NWC is as follows. So I believe that we haven't seen the last of the party decision yet. And sincerely speaking, the party will soon come up with a comprehensive zone arrangement. When the party does that, then we'll abide by party decision, because party is supreme. But not when it is not clear whether the party have zoned or the party have not zoned. And please, I don't want people to be using the name of our incoming president anyhow. Please, that is unfair. He cannot be party to this type of thing, because I know he's not. He himself was a former senator, so he knows. Even the chairman of our party just left the Senate the other day. The secretary of our party, former senator too. So the point is that it is not possible for things like that to happen under their watch. So I can assure you that we are still waiting for the party to call us for consultation. They haven't called us yet. The party said further and better consultation with aspirants. Nobody have called me, and nobody have called any aspirants for consultation. So we are waiting for them to call us. When they call us, it's a family affair. It's a family affair. When they call us, we sit down, we will agree on who to go and who not to go. The zone to go and the zone not to go. Because there are some zones that have benefited. There are some geopolitical zones that have not benefited. We put it together and come up with something comprehensive that will make everybody happy at the end of the day.
So, Senator, many have said, I get your point, but many have said, perhaps you may be shying away from the realities on ground, that indeed your party already has preferred candidates, given that this announcement was made by the party's spokesperson. Is this so?
No, the party spokesperson made the announcement. I'm not saying that he didn't make the announcement. Thereafter, the same party spokesperson went on national television to say that it was a mere recommendation. I'm not saying that the party did not make recommendation. The party made, it was a mere recommendation. So it didn't come from the party as it's supposed to come from the party. There are lines of communication within the party. So that is why the party said, look, this list was handed over to us, so we read it out the same way it was handed over to us as a recommendation. But we are still consulting. So the party is still consulting. And I can assure you that after the consultation, then the party can now come with a comprehensive zoning arrangement. Because when they consult people like us, then we are going to make our input. Because we haven't made any input. We haven't. I'm a stakeholder in this party. I'm running to be Senate President. So if you now say that you have consulted, who did you consult? You didn't consult us. those stakeholders who are running for the election. So are we not relevant enough to be consulted? That is why I'm saying that even the party, the way they couched the press statement released by the National Publicity Secretary shows that the party have not concluded the zoning. If the party has concluded the zoning, the statement would have been couched in a different manner. That's just the point I'm trying to make.
How do you think the APC should have handled this to avoid all of this back and forth by aspirants?
Yeah, what I think the APC ought to have done or should do when you have matters of this nature, what you do is to set up a committee. Set up a committee. The committee will advise the NWC. The NWC will take the recommendations of the committee and discuss it with critical stakeholders. President-elect, serving president, vice president-elect, Senate president, the speaker, House of Representatives, discuss with critical stakeholders. Then at the end of the day, they will now advise the National Caucus and say this is, after due consultation, this is what we think should be the zoning formula of our party. The National Caucus will look at it and further advise the NEC, because the NEC is the principal organ of the party. You now further advise the NEC, and the NEC will give a final nod, and that will be the end. Thereafter, you can come out and say, NEC have said so, because in between the National Convention, which is the supreme organ of the party, the NEC work on behalf of National Convention, in between National Convention. So whatever NEC ratifies, that is the final. So it hasn't even gone any of these levels. So that is why the NWC is saying, we are calling for further and better consultation. And I believe we still have enough time for that. We have enough time for that. And I believe that when our president-elect is sworn in, a lot of things will change. Politics is very dynamic. It is not about who started first, but it's about who ended the race better than the rest. So I believe and I'm very confident that the right thing will be done.
All right, so talking about the right thing to be done, I mean, you're here saying that the party has not zoned, or the party has not done what it should do. So what would you advise the party to do at this time?
No, what will I advise the party to do is to adopt the 1999 formula.
Which
1999 formula, when the presidency was still at the Southwest, they will adopt it with a little modification. Because in 1999, the president was at Southwest, vice president Northeast. That is as it is right now. Then they should zone the Senate president to Southeast. Then zone the speaker to North Central and the deputy Senate president to Northwest. This should be a fair balancing and a fair zoning, if I'm to advise the party. But if the party had thrown it open for proper advice, a lot of people would have reasoned well and advised the party, and the party will now consult critical stakeholders and come out with something that everybody will be proud of.
Oh, so distinguished, let me also say, as you're agitating for the party to do the needful, there are some members who are insisting that the party does not go back on its position. So what if the party decides not to go back on this? What would you do?
Come again, Jumoke. I didn't get that bit of the question.
If the party decides not to go back on its position, what would you do, distinguished?
No, if the party decides not to zone, of course, we'll go to the field. And the field is the floor of the Senate. And the senators will elect. Because this is a democratic experience. It's a democratic exercise. It's not something that you can say you have appointed. Even when you appoint ministers, do they automatically become ministers? Appointment of ministers is the prerogative of Mr. President. But even when you appoint them, do they automatically become ministers? They go for confirmation, they go for screening. So Senate can decide to drop a minister that has been nominated by Mr. President. But this particular case is supposed to be elected. If you look at the Constitution, that the senators elect will elect one of them to be their Senate President and elect another one to be Deputy Senate President. So it is not something you will say you are giving out names of those to occupy the position. What about if you give out the names of those to occupy the position and they come to the floor of the Senate and the senators refuse to elect them? Then what will happen? That is why I'm advising the party, let us do the right thing. Let us do the right thing. Because what we are saying is that we also want to deepen democracy. Nobody is going to fight the president-elect. No. That is not the issue. It's not rebellious. We're not fighting anybody. But we're talking about deepening democracy. Because how will it look like that somebody will be appointed to be a Senate president, appointed to be Speaker of the House of Representatives? It is something that you know that they will be elected. They'll be elected. And some people have made it even look worse. Some people will come and say, I saw Mr. President-elect, he told me to support so and so person. Is that how to communicate after you have met with the President-elect? So even if he tells you that, are you supposed to come to the public and start saying what he told you? So what it means is that you don't believe in that thing. If you believe in it, you don't need to mention his name. You will say, I'm hereby supporting so and so person. So in all of this, please, people should stop parading the name of Mr. President-elect. No, people should stop it.
All right.
Because I know he's not involved. He's not involved. I can assure you that he's not involved. He is a very senior politician. He's been around for a long time. He knows it all. He knows what to do at the appropriate time.
All right, distinguished, let's take a breather. I've been speaking with Senator-elect for Imo West Senatorial District, Senator Osita Izunaso, for discussion on the 10th National Assembly and how the APC zoning formula is stirring disagreement. We will be right back after this break. Please stay with us. Thank you very much for staying with us. You're watching Politics Tonight, digging beyond the headlines. And tonight we're getting Senator Osita Izunaso's position on the 10th National Assembly and how the APC zoning formula is stirring disagreement. Now, distinguished, some of the lawmakers argued that the APC cannot impose leaders on the National Assembly. How will you react to this?
Yeah, but this is the same thing we're talking about, Jumoke. I'm telling you that APC will not impose National Assembly leadership, and they have not imposed National Assembly leadership. They made mere recommendations, which they are calling for further and better consultation. So I don't want to agree that they are imposing National Assembly leadership. They cannot impose National Assembly leadership. How can they impose? The current chairman of All Progressive Congress himself is a senator. The national deputy chairman, not himself, is a senator. National secretary of our party is a senator. So it is not possible. They will not impose candidates. They know the procedure. They know how it is done. The only thing you can do is to advise your party members to toe this line after due and proper consultation. Then they will go and toe the line according to how the party wants them to do it. But if you want to impose candidates, then people will say no, because it is not democratic. And don't forget that the whole idea of executive legislature is the issue of check and balances, separation of powers. Where the powers of the executive stop, the powers of legislature begins. So legislature cannot, even before commencement of the assembly, concede that particular thing that is supposed to be theirs. Election of its presiding officers. They can't concede it to anybody. It's an exercise that they have to do themselves in the hallowed chambers of the Senate and the House of Representatives. So that is why I'm telling you that the party cannot impose. I don't say our party imposing candidates on anybody. They will not. They will not. If you listen to the chairman, when some senators met him some few days ago, he told them categorically that they should go to the floor of the Senate. He even advised them to meet other political parties like PDP, Labour, and all the rest of them. You know, for the first time, we have about 6 to 7 political parties having senators elect. So he now advised, look, you have to also extend their consultation to other political parties because they also have votes It's one man, one vote on the floor of the Senate. So if you are asking, if National Chairman is advising everybody to go and consult, and even consult beyond APC, then why would you think that he would want to impose a candidate on the senators? No. He has not imposed, and I can assure you.
Is there any danger, distinguished, is there any danger in throwing this contest open?
No, there's no danger in throwing it open. Thank you for raising that. You can throw it open, and the senators will do what they want to do. But because of Section 14, Sub 3 of 1999 Constitution as amended, the party will now zone so that every aspect of the country will have a fair share of the positions within the government. So it's advisable for the party to zone, advisable. But whereby the party fails to zone, then they can throw it open. But if they zone and zone it well, I can assure you that party members, being loyal party members, will abide by it.
All right, then. So some analysts are also of the view that the race for the Senate presidency is less rancorous than that of the Speaker of the House of Representatives. How true is this?
Well, you know, in the Senate, we have only 109 members. The House of Representatives have about 360. So it is supposed to be less rancorous in the Senate than the House of Reps, because there are many. Whenever there are many people like that, they are bound to do what they're doing. So that's why some people will say that the Senate is the upper chamber. So, but that does not mean that in the Senate we are not looking at these issues. We're looking at this, but from a different style. We're looking at it in a more matured way, in a manner that nobody will accuse anybody of anything, because we believe that we are all elected to serve our country. Once you are sworn in, you are being sworn in as a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Nobody will swear me in as senator representing Imo West. So that is why you can see the senators are taking it easy, managing themselves, but the discussions are going on. They are meeting every day. Dialogue, we're going on. People are talking. That is why I'm saying that at the end of the day, it will be resolved in a manner that Nigerians will be proud of the 10th Senate. I can assure you that. But what is happening in the House of Representatives, I'm not condemning it, because it's also a democratic exercise where people have to vent whatever they believe in. But because there are many, so they have to do it in a, because we also told that they set up a committee to look at some of these things, from the greater majority to the joint committee. All those things are also taking place in the Senate, but in a very subtle manner that you won't even know that they exist. But they happen, because we meet every day. There's no day that I won't attend up to 4 meetings.
So going by how all of this is looking, do you foresee a situation where candidates other than the party's choice emerged at both chambers if APC failed to manage this well?
Well, the opposition party have assured us that they are not going to field any candidates. And we have taken that as a commitment from the opposition party. You know, in the Senate, out of the 109 senators elect, the opposition party have 50. PDP, Labour, and the rest have 50. APC, 59. But because I told you we are dialoguing, they have assured us that they are not going to field any candidates for presiding officer's position, because by convention, it is the party that have the majority that should field candidates for presiding officer's position. So they have already assured us that they won't do that. So that is taken already to the bank. So the next thing is, who will they support? And who will APC senators elect support? So it is, we don't even have a very comfortable majority. It's not something we can say, well, APC must do it alone. It can't do it alone. The other people have 50 senators elect, who have 59. And you require 55 to elect a Senate president, 55 in number. They have 50, we have 59. So it's quite close. So it is something that we have to manage well. We have to manage them, manage their own tendencies, and manage our own party and our own tendencies. So it is not something that you will do as if you don't know that the other people are there. They're there, watching. But I want to commend them because they have given us their commitment that they are not going to fail anybody. So also in the House of Representatives, the opposition have given a commitment that they're not going to field any candidate on the floor of both chambers. So, which means that they are respecting the mere fact that it is the party with majority that should fill these positions.
So, the Southeast has expressed displeasure over the decision to exclude the zone from the calculations, apart from Benjamin Kalu. How would you react to this?
Well, you know, I told you that I don't believe in the zoning because the zoning have not been done. But even what has already been done, they haven't treated the Southeast fairly. I don't want to be talking about ethnic issues here, but the Southeast deserve far more than what was given to them. The Southeast should be given the position of the Senate President. That's what they deserve. They don't deserve anything less than Senate President. And I have my figures. I can tell you why the Southeast deserve that. I'm a founding member of the APC. We founded the party. Today in the Southeast, are you aware that we have 6 APC senators? Has it ever happened before? When we started in 2015, we didn't even have 1 APC senator. Today we have 6. Today, APC is the majority party in the Southeast. We have 2 governors, Imo and Ebonyi. Apuga 1, Labour 1, and PDP 1. Are you aware that today in the Southeast, PDP have only 1 senator elect? Only 1 senator elect, Enugu West. So out of the 15 senators in the Southeast, APC 6, Labour 6, YPP 1, Apuga 1, PDP 1. So Southeast is embracing APC far better than they did in the last 2 elections. So Southeast, even if they didn't vote as much as you expected them to vote, they should also be encouraged. They should be encouraged. Don't forget the P2B factor. It was a major factor in that election. A major factor. There was no P2B in the South-South. South-South didn't have any presidential candidate. If they had a presidential candidate, the story would have been different. Does that mean that you are going to exclude South-South in sharing things? But today, Southeast have not benefited. That is why we are saying, give it to Southeast. South-South have had President of Nigeria, President Goodluck Jonathan. They have also had Vice President under PDP, Goodluck Jonathan, Vice President to President Yar'Adua. Southwest have had President Obasanjo. They have had Vice President Oshibanjo, and today President Bola Tinubu. So where lies the equity? Where lies the justice we are talking about? So Southeast should be compensated with this Senate President. It's not something too big, because will you want to exchange Vice President with Senate President? Some people used to make some arguments on television that Southeast have produced Senate President. By the time you are talking about Southeast producing Senate President, other zones have produced President and Vice President. South-South in question have also produced President and Vice President. Southeast, after producing Senate President, have produced nothing again. So it is the responsibility of the party to look at equity, to look at fairness, to look at justice. That's why I'm telling you that the party is still consulting. It's consulting. And besides that, you also have to look at the capacity of the individuals who want to be Senate President. You have to look at capacity. I'm not dealing with only the issue of zoning to Southeast, because it is the turn of Southeast really to have the Senate President. It's their turn. I can assure you that it's
distinguished.
Before we look at the statistics in APC.
Before we get to capacity, now, are these statements born out of feelings of being marginalized?
Yes, that is what I'm telling you, that if you look at the charter of APC when we formed APC, APC was anchored on 4 points: equity, justice, fairness, and unity of the country. So if you want equity and justice, it should be given to Southeast. I don't want to say that Southeast is marginalized or not marginalized. No part of this country should marginalize. No part of this country, I don't want any part of this country to be marginalized. I believe that every part of this country should be given a fair share of federal appointments, a fair share of federal positions, because it is even enshrined in our Constitution. So it is even constitutional for everybody to be fair and equitable in distribution of federal appointment and positions. So the issue of APC being marginalized is there, but I don't want to stress it too much because I believe that our party knows exactly what to do.
So what's your agenda for the Senate if you become the Senate President? Distinguished. All right, tonight we're getting Senator Osita Izunaso's position on the 10th National Assembly and how the APC zoning formula is stirring disagreements. Senator Izunaso is the senator-elect for Imo West Senatorial District, and so far he's raised so many valid points talking about equity and why the Southeast deserves to get the Senate presidency. So if you can hear me again, what's your agenda for the Senate if you become the Senate president? Distinguished.
Well, if I become the Senate President, first of all, we have to work towards developing a legislative agenda for the 10th Senate. And how do you develop a legislative agenda? You look at all those things that concerns the country most at this point in time. I've always said that the Senate and indeed National Assembly requires rebranding. We have to rebrand. And there are some faces you must need to rebrand. There are some faces you don't need to rebrand with. Then when we rebrand, we look at issues of national unity and national cohesion, extremely important. We also look at the security situation in the country. Before it used to be northeast, today northwest is involved, southeast is involved, a lot of places. We have to look at the security situation as part of the legislative agenda for the 10th Senate. We have to look at the issues of economy. Why is Naira and dollar at the rate they are now? What is going on? We have to look at the economy, the issue of economy. We have to look at the issue of youth unemployment. We have to go into the statistics to know how many youths are even unemployed in Nigeria. So you have to work on the legislative agenda. There must be a committee to fashion out a legislative agenda for the 10th Senate. And when that is done, and we're even going to involve the public in working out this agenda for the 10th Senate. So when that is done, then we'll make laws, we'll have motions, pass motions and bills targeted towards the agenda that we have set for ourselves. So that is what I think should be the beginning. If we want to have a robust National Assembly, we must look at what do Nigerians want at this point in time. What is going on in our polity? Are they happy? If they're not happy, what can we do to make Nigeria a better place for all of us?
So I know you're not the only Southeasterner vying for this position. I mean, the likes of Ojo Zakalu and yourself were being considered for the job. What's the situation now?
Well, Senator Ojo Zakalu, yes, I'm aware he's vying for the position, and I can tell you that we're not quarreling. Ojo Zakalu is eminently qualified to vie for the position. But I'm saying that I'm more qualified. The others are qualified, but I'm more qualified. Having come from the House of Representatives to the Senate, and having been a founding member of APC. Those of us that founded this party, we know about this party. We know the rudiments of this party. Most of the people who are talking about being Senate President now just joined us some 2-3 years ago. Well, I'm a founder of the party. I know everything about the party. We wrote the party constitution, the party manifesto, everything. When Governor Fashola was governor of Lagos, he chaired the APC strategy committee, and I was the secretary. We did that project for about 18 weeks, moving from Abuja to Lagos every Tuesday. So I know about APC more than every other person. So if there is anybody that should be Senate President this time around, it is me. It is me. Because I understand the party. I understand the legislature. If it is an executive job, I can concede to the former governors because it's an executive team, but this is legislature. They should concede to me. They should concede to me.
So, distinguished, let's just say this plan scales through. What do you think can be done to remedy the situation for the Southeast in the incoming administration?
Yeah, what should be done is to allow the Southeast to produce the Senate president. If that happens, it will remedy a whole lot of things. It will douse tension. It will remedy things. I can assure you that. It will remedy things. If you don't want to look at it from that perspective, then you are not being fair. But if you are being fair, you have to look at it from that perspective. Because this country belongs to all of us. Everybody must be given a fair sense of belonging. So I believe that the party will do the right thing at the appropriate time. We still have
You didn't get my question.
We still have like 3 or 4 weeks to go. Yeah, please.
You didn't get my question. Let me repeat myself.
Repeat
In the event that this plan scales through, I mean, the party maintains its position. What do you think can be done to remedy the situation for the Southeast in the incoming administration?
No, I don't want to believe that that plan will stay through. I'm very optimistic that it will stay through. So, because that should be the best thing to be given to Southeast. That should be the best thing to be given to Southeast. So, let us be optimistic. Let's not begin to say in the event that it didn't work. When it didn't work, then when we get there, we'll cross the bridge. But I know that it will work. I know it will work. Because we're concerned.
From your point of view, what impact do you think this brewing disagreement is having on the polity?
Could you take that once more, Jumoke?
What do you think this brewing disagreement is having? What impact do you think this brewing disagreement is having on the polity?
No. There's no disagreement. People disagree in politics to agree. In fact, I can assure you that most of the people who you think are not agreeing are not even opposed to President-elect. I, for one, I will support the President-elect in his programs. The only thing we are talking about is to deepen democracy, is to say, let us play a role in who becomes the Senate President, who becomes the Deputy Senate President. Let us play a role. That's the only thing we're talking about. I don't think there's any quarrel here. There's no quarrel. There's no quarrel. I have not seen anybody since we are consulting. I have never seen any senator-elect that says that he will not cooperate with the President-elect. No. Nobody says so.
All right, then. So,
in
because
fact, the President-elect will even have a better Senate.
All right. So because many have said this looks like the first political test for the President-elect, what do you think he should do to douse the tension?
No, I know him. He is not going to worry so much when he comes back. Immediately after he's sworn in, I know he will do last lap consultation. This whole thing wouldn't take him 1 week to resolve. I can assure you he will resolve it. Right. We know our President-elect. He's a very fair-minded person, and he's a man that believes in capacity. Look at all the people that he chose from here and there to put in certain positions. These are men of capacity. So this is not a major issue for him to resolve. Once he comes back and he's sworn in, give him 2-3 days, he will resolve it. I can assure you that. He will resolve it. Because I know him. I've worked with him.
All right.
I know his capacity.
All right, then. Thank you very much, distinguished. I've been speaking with the Senator-elect for Imo West Senatorial District, Senator Osita Izunaso, for discussion of the 10th National Assembly and how the APC zoning formula is stirring disagreements. Thank you very much, Senator Izunaso, for sharing your positions with us on the show tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jumoke.
And thank you for watching. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But the conversation continues from here. Get in touch with us on Twitter at TVC News NG and at Olajumoke using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Goodbye.
Smelly braids can be a thing of the past. Introducing the new Ruwa braids from Expression, made with 100% Aquatex fiber from Canicolon. The new Ruwa braids from Expression is extremely fast drying and perfect for friction-free washing. Stay dry this season with the new Ruwa braids from Expression, now available in pre-stretch and regular braid variants and in beauty shops near you.
Never miss a moment. Instant breaking news from all over the globe. Live streaming of your favorite programs delivered directly to you. Watch anytime from anywhere on your mobile or smart devices. Download the TVC News app today. Available on Google Play and Apple Store.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
Now that Nigeria's next president has been decided at the poll on February 25, attention is shifted to May 29 Inauguration Day, the commencement of a new 4-year tenure of Nigeria's 16th president since 1960 when the country gained independence. It's going to be the 7th inauguration ceremony since the beginning of the 4th Republic in 1999. And President-elect Bola Tinubu and Vice President-elect Kashim Shettima will take the oath of office. Join me, Femi Odere, every weekday on TVC News for the countdown to the historic May 29 Inauguration Day, as we bring you all updates, political intrigues, and in-depth analysis of people and events that you need to know.